Hey guys, welcome back to the outside of the rock room. And yes, we're gonna do something different today. We're going to go on a rock hunt. I used some Google Earth and I found a rock pile. So we're going to go to this rock pile, but we're gonna go with a new addition to the rock hunting group. We're going to go with the electric bicycle, the foldable one. So I can, if anybody's not familiar, I can fold this in half. I can throw it inside the beast. So got plenty of room. Throw her inside there and take her down to where I can get to. Then we will jump on the old electric bike and see how it works with the rock hunt. I just got my e-bike delivered. And of course it looks like it's been through hell and back. You know, good old fucking FedEx. You know, I guess we'll have to cut it open and see what's damaged. Looks like it's been freaking dropped on its side. It's all mashed on this side. And I say something, whatever's inside, looked like it ripped right freaking out. So yeah, we'll open it up and see what's wrecked right off the bat. Okay, so I open up the box. And of course the thing that the components came in is smashed completely flat. And this is what's supposed to have the LCD display in it. And it looks completely smashed, like they had it actually upside down. You can tell this is all freaking caved in, all smashed in. And there's the freaking hole right through the freaking box. Good job, FedEx. All right, there we go. Already out of the box, everything put together. Didn't appear to be like nothing major damage, but you can definitely see where maybe some of that tape got peeled off the X or something. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to look like or what. Maybe that's what it's supposed to look like. I don't know. See, I've got it on the other side. Yeah, maybe that's what it's supposed to look like. So it doesn't appear to be anything damaged. I pumped up the tires, put 35 pounds in. They said between 25 and 45, so I put 35 right in the middle. Got the seat positioned. I got the handlebars positioned. I got the little LED display on there. And we're charging. I don't know if the battery came charged or not, so I plugged it in, and yeah, it's red, so obviously it's got to charge for a while. And this is the gray, because what I use it for, you know, I just like a little stealthier color, not nothing real bright. I like the gray. I'm going to use this for rock hounding, so you know, with this back thing there, I figured I could just get like one of these I don't know if this is gonna work or not, but like one of those heavy duty, you know, milk trays, and you know, somehow fasten it down to there. Not saying that's what I'm gonna use, but that was my thought. You know, try to get out of it cheap. So yeah, I just rode it around a circle in the garage, and it, you know, by itself, it rides like a regular bike. You don't notice it being the weight that it is. So yeah, so get this charged up and take it for a spin. Of course, it's, you know, 87 degrees here, no wind, and super freaking humid. So even if it's charged up. Of course, it does say it takes a while. Like I said, I don't know what the battery had in for a charge, but yeah, I'm not going to be going nowhere right now anyhow. So it's already kind of late in the afternoon. So yeah, so let this baby charge, and we'll see what happens. All right, worked pretty good to this point. Going through this freaking super tall grass, which is just crazy, but it got me back here. It was kind of some work. Now I think that pile was up ahead, so I'll walk over there and see if I can find it. Well, look at that, I found it. It was, sure enough. And it appears to be loaded with taters. Look at them frickin' taters. Everywhere I look, there's frickin' taters. Tater, tater, tater. Lots of freaking taters. You can see them. You know, right, oh, too close, right? There's one. That's one. There's a red one. There's ones that are like close to me. There. There, there, there. There. They're everywhere. Let's look at them, see if any of them are worth taking. I don't know how good you can hear me. It's pretty windy out here, but yeah, look at that. First one right there's got some pretty cool banding on it. This one seems to have some interesting banding. What I'm noticing here is these seem to be a lot more of the conglomerate type, which doesn't make the best, you know, cutting. So maybe this far south there are a lot more conglomerates. That's got some really good layering in there. But maybe this far south, oh, look at that, I believe that crystal pocket right there. Maybe this far south you get a lot more of these conglomerates than you do with the normal taters that we're used to. But yeah, look at that. Pretty cool. I'll keep looking. So here's a big conglomerate one, like I say, which appears to be all these are, is these big conglomerates. But this one's got some that interesting like fingernailing details to it. You can see in some of the rocks, there's some of the pieces inside, you know, have that cool looking pattern. So if that's all that's here, I'll take a few of these and see what they cut, how they cut. So yeah, these seem to be all, like you say, all the conglomerate, but this one's got some cool patterns. Again, this one has some of that fingernailing on it, and you know, there's some, you know, cool different colors, and that's got some interesting stuff on there. But yeah, but one thing with the ones here is they seem to have a lot of that crystal stuff in there. I want you to look at that. Let me see if I can somehow zoom the camera in on this. There we go. Would you look at that? It's like it's coated in sugar, and it's all yellow. So it's all a yellow, and I wouldn't say druzy, it's just you know, crystals. But yeah, pretty neat. And here's a really good piece of jasper. Of course, this is completely dry. But yeah, it's very typical. Nice crystal vog in there. There's a good crystal pocket in there. But yeah, that good old Wisconsin red jasper. I'm sure it's pretty common everywhere. So yeah, I got my few rocks already. Like I say, it's mostly these conglomerates here. I just bought a couple little bags today, but I lost my glasses, right? Don't carry your glasses in a flimsy pocket like that. And of course, I got stung in the rear by a bee. Not like a bee, like a big freaking wasp, because they had unfortunately the downfalls of rock hunting on a pile, as I suppose the freaking bees thought this was equally. I'm watching out so I don't get stung again. Obviously, bees thought this was a good spot to build a nest. They're them ones that you know, they have that open nest where they hang on there, them big waspy things. I'll show you a picture. I took a picture of the one that stung me. Hopefully he dies, if this is one of those bees that die when they sting. I hope so, because that son of a gun, boy. Oh. Now I have to ride my bike back to the truck, which is like a few miles. Yeah, this ought to be real freaking enjoyable. So yes, that ends the rock hunt for today. All right, first lesson learned on the e-bike: stay out of the tall grass, because the grass will catch up in. I put the chain back on now, but the grass this tall grass will get wound up in there, pop the freaking chain off, and then enough grass pulling on that side there was actually yanked me right freaking down to the freaking ground. And of course, you know, I was in super tall grass, which I probably shouldn't have been. Live and learn. Yeah, and it was, you know, muddy. Besides being tall grass, it was muddy. So nothing to blame the bike on. But just be sure, be aware that if you got one of these e-bikes and the grass is chest high, probably a hint, not grass, I should say weeds, right? Probably not a good idea to take your e-bike in there. So yeah, lessons learned. All right, I got these home and washed them up. Not like they're really dirty, because they seem to be sitting on the top of the pile anyhow. But at least now they're wet. So this one, you can see it's like a nodule, or like in a nodule form, with the crust. And then it goes into these the good filling. Real hard to see here, but you can see it's more of the breccia, or almost like a conglomerate, where they're like little tiny round stones compacted in there. And then of course the outside layer again looked like it was, at least it had like conglomerate on top of it, like tons of little tiny round stones maybe or something. But yeah, that one should look pretty cool, cut up, open, sliced, slabbed. Okay, here's that red jasper, and like I say, this is typical of Wisconsin. We get a lot of this red jasper. You can see a nice dirty but crystal vog in there. And there's an old one there, but yeah, real bright red. which is typical of jaspers. You know, they're pretty much found everywhere. So here in Wisconsin, it's about the same thing, other than the crystal vogs. All right, here was a little tiny guy, but again, you can see that pattern goes along the top there. If this might have been like a giant nodule at one time. But again, you can see it's kind of more of the conglomerate, where it seems to be a lot of pieces melted together, a lot of like glass-like pieces melted together. And then of course, you know, you get that crazy thumbnailing, I call it, or something. I don't know what else you'd want to call it. Okay, again, now here's, you know, again, the conglomerate, where you can see like layers of these stones all piled up. And then every now and then you get this weird, like a flow pattern or something that's like a bigger chunk or something. Either way, pretty cool. Okay, here's a real tiny little piece, and yeah, it's got some old crystal, or these may be more of a druzy kind of a vog in different places in here. Definitely pretty old. But the reason I grabbed this one, this is more of the moss, kind of like the moss agate, where it's much more translucent, glassy, and then it's got the, you know, little things going through it, little mossy things, maybe. I don't know if that's technically the right word, but that's kind of what it looks like. Okay, here's what I grabbed. Kind of had like a flow pattern, but then on this one side you can kind of almost see it's starting to look like a nodule, but on this other side too you can kind of see that it was like forming a round, or like a tube or something, you know, like it might have been like a tube or something. You tell me. Petrified dino bone, I don't know. Pretty strange looking. Have that this kind of flow patterns on there. Very strange. Okay, and this ugly old tater didn't have much, and I flipped it over and it did have this one interesting red band. You know, don't know what to make of that, but after I got stung in the rear, I just grabbed a couple, threw them in the bag, and got out of there. Now this one I just took because it had that real good bright contrasty color with the white, the red, and I guess that would be like a gold or something. But again, you can almost see, well, maybe not with this one, but oh man, this thing's heavy. But yeah, pretty interesting. Okay, now this one was definitely a conglomerate, because you could just see all those little pieces in there, but yet it does have some pretty cool features on some of it. Now I don't know if that's an individual, the individual stones that got melted in there that have that wavy pattern, and that's why that's like that, but this is a pretty big rock too. But yes, you can see even in the white ones they have that pattern. So yeah, definitely definitely a beast, and definitely strange looking. right? Now this one I took because this like has that, you know, it's more of the volcanic glass, and when you cut these, they are real pretty to look at. And if you see there, I mean, what is that? Is that either like a carnelian or a jelly opal? Because that is just some crazy color. And this whole thing has that glassy look to it. So yes, very, very cool. You can see that just goes way down inside there. Although that stuff's pretty eaten up. And then of course this one with that, oh, getting in the wrong way of the sun here. Oop, now I lost it, right? Hold on. There we go. So this one's got that nice, and this is, you know, obviously small, but you know, these are fully made crystals. If I zoom back out, and again, this is a pretty good sized piece, but then when you get this wet, and I didn't want to do that with the crystals, obviously you can't see that the crystals is good, but you know, when I get this wet, you can see these big veins of chalcedony running through there. And this side, it goes into some pinks and some lavender layers in there. I don't know if the camera's picking it up real well, but you can see the layers in there. And then that, ooh, I got bit in the neck now. But you can see, yeah, some big veins of chalcedony growing in there. Kind of cool. And then of course this one was the one, pick this up here. Now you could just see all those little sparklies in there. You know, it's a pretty big vein. And it's on this side, little one there. Whoop. Goes up on top, goes over there. I think it even had some, oh yeah, right on this other side here too. It's got one that was more exposed, more weathered. And then, yeah, so, yeah. Get this one wet. And it's got some pretty, let me zoom out a little here. It's got some pretty interesting pattern, but yeah, just kind of plain, other than that huge, those huge vogs in there. You know, that side's got some white, this side's got some red, so yeah, it wasn't a big haul, say the least, but these are all pretty big stones. So yeah, sometime I will get to cutting these and we'll look at the inside, but of course I got so much to do, so much.